Hey, what's up guys, Ben here, welcome to another video on my channel, FilmFanatic. Now I've just came out of the cinema and I've seen Creed and I had to give you my review right now. Now I should say before we get into the video, as this is a new movie and I am going to be talking about the plot, this video does contain spoilers. So, spoiler alert. So we'll start with the plot. The movie starts out with a young man called Adonis Johnson who is in juvie and he ends up getting taken out by a woman he calls his mum. It's not really, but we'll get into that. She raises him as a good businessman, but every weekend he flies to Mexico and has these professional boxing fights. After many successful fights and realising that boxing is his passion and boxing what he wants to do, he ends up ditching his life in LA and moving to Philadelphia, where of course he runs into Rocky Balboa. After much deliberation with Rocky eventually decides to train him and make him his own. Rocky brings him into the house, he raises him as one of his own, he trains him and gets ready for the big fight. The movie does a really good job in tricking the audience into thinking the fight that they are building up for and training for is the big fight, when in reality it's not. The first proper fight we see Adonis in is between Rocky's old trainer friend, son, if that makes sense. Basically Rocky's old friend who's a trainer, his son is a boxer and they fight. Although the audience is tricked into thinking this is the main fight, this is going to be the climax of the movie, but in fact it's not, the fight's over pretty quickly. Instead, they go into fighting the world heavyweight champion after this guy is going to prison for 7 years for killing a guy. They kind of glossed over that whole section, but I'll get to that. Basically this guy's not going to be fighting for ages, so he comes in and he gives this unknown guy a chance, although he's really giving him the chance to get the money because of the surname. And that's a little side note with the plot. They focus a lot on the fact that the name is Creed. Obviously Creed in the world carries quite a heavy stance, in the boxing world especially, but it focuses quite a lot on the fact that the only reason that everyone thinks the only reason he has got this big chance is because of the name, which is true, although the movie does a good job in reminding you of that every 20 seconds. Seriously, the amount of times the word name is used, it's unbelievable. But moving on, we'll go into characters. So the protagonist of the movie is Adonis Johnson, played by Michael B. Jordan. I love this character. He started off being a kind of lovable rogue. He was cocky, he thought he was a big man, and then he got into the ring and he realised just how serious this business is. Rocky Balboa, again played by Sylvester Stallone, was the best performance I've seen Sylvester Stallone give in a long time. Everyone thinks after Rocky 4 it went downhill and Sylvester Stallone's not really done any good movies since, and they're kind of right. Rocky 5 and Rocky 6 sucked, I'm not even ashamed to say that. But bring him into this, it brought a whole different level to Rocky. Everyone knows he's a tough-headed fighter, but in this, it really showed the emotional side to him. Obviously, because he wasn't fighting or training, it showed the true Rocky. It showed not the fighter Rocky, but the Rocky that his wife Adrian would have known. A whole emotional side was brand new and something I'd never seen in a Rocky movie. Rocky movies aren't known for their emotional capacity. And so to come into this one and have a great balance between boxing and emotions, it worked really well. I have mentioned it spoilers, so apologies if you've gone this far and I've already said spoilers, then it's your fault. But basically, in the movie, Rocky is diagnosed with cancer, and it's a subplot that I don't think the movie needed, but they did it well. I went into the movie theatre fearing that this was going to be another, oh look how old Rocky movie is, you know? But because they focused so much on Creed and Rocky was a secondary character, it worked so well. And they had a really good subplot, obviously like I've just mentioned, a really good subplot for Rocky to still be involved and not just be the old guy. But also it brought this whole new side to Sylvester Stallone that I'd never seen. It showed Rocky slowly deteriorating as the kind of movie went on. It showed just how old he is. He was fantastic, he really was, and I think honestly if this year's Oscars weren't so fantastically packed, Sylvester Stallone would have been up there for Best Supporting Actor, in my opinion. So moving on to Rocky franchise. Basically, as this is kind of the 7th Rocky movie, is there going to be more? Absolutely. Now the movie didn't end in a way which kind of led on to a sequel, like, you know, there's going to be another big fight or anything. It ended well that you know they're going to do another one. Will Sylvester Stallone be interested, or will he want to do another one? I think he will, but I don't think it's a good idea. Now I've said ever since watching Rocky Balboa that Rocky Balboa wasn't a good movie, although they ended it in a fantastic way to end it. Sylvester Stallone said in an interview that he didn't want to end the Rocky franchise on Rocky 5, which was terrible. But he ended it well in Rocky 6. He had his last fight at an old age. He showed everybody he's still got what it takes. He left with a good family. That was a good way to end it. He brought this one in. I got a little bit tedious at points, not gonna lie, but it worked so well. And this is the best way, I think, to send Rocky out. How does it tie in with the other movie? Well, it has some clips from the older Rockies. Like, for example, there's a really good bit in it where Michael B. Jordan is watching Rocky and his dad Apollo fight, and he watches it on YouTube, and it's just a tiny thing, but it's really good that they incorporated that modern way of, like, the way this generation will understand it. Because in the old ones, when they watched old fights, it was on projectors, and nobody has a projector. So it was a good way to tie in the new generation and bring this new generation into Rocky. Because I think if you weren't born in the time Rockies were out, or just after it, or even if you were like me and were raised on older films, you would not either know or care what Rocky is. But I think now they've made it in a modern generation with a modern twist, it's going to bring a whole new side to Rocky. A whole new generation will appreciate Rocky, and it'll continue, and they will then hopefully pass it on to their generations. Because I think Rocky has the potential to be one of those movie franchises that everyone loves and it never dies, and that's a good thing. In terms of the modern twist they put in Rocky, it was very small, subtle things that worked so well. For example, the director did a fantastic job in filming the actual fights. There's one really good fight, it's the one I said tricked the audience thinking it was the main one, where there was no cuts through the whole fight. I think it was a 3-round fight, but there was no cuts whatsoever. It was just really good Steadicam, and it just followed the fighters round the ring, it circled them, it went out of the ring to Sylvester Stallone and came back in. There wasn't a cut to the whole thing, which was incredible, really. That was amazing. I know it doesn't sound amazing, but when you watch it, you don't realise how much work must have went into getting that sequence right with no mistakes from anybody. But seriously, that was such a good sequence. Another thing they added, that little modern twist that changed it from the other Rockies, they had the original Rocky soundtrack, the infamous that. I don't know why I did that. They had the infamous Rocky theme tune, but they put a total new R&B mix into it. There was a really nice beat going on under it. It brought like synthesizers and stuff. It was a whole new theme song just by adding a simple R&B beat. And like I said, that brings in the whole new generation, rather the classic orchestra that people of my generation wouldn't really care about. Would I recommend Creed from anybody? Absolutely. You don't necessarily need to see the other movies, although there is some smidgens of nostalgia thrown in there, like the infamous American shorts that are there. There is some nostalgia thrown in there, but you don't necessarily need to see the other 6 Rockies to get this one. You'll be fine going to see it by itself. I went to see it in the Odeon in East Kilbride, and it was fantastic in the big screen. I can imagine being really good on telly as well, even if you want to wait till then. But honestly, first go and see it in the big screen. I should probably say there are other cinema companies you can choose. This video is not sponsored by Odeon, although I wouldn't mind if it was. So anyway, what would be my rating out of 10 for Creed? I'm going to go with a solid 8. It was fantastic. It wasn't quite a 9 out of 10, it wasn't quite there. There were 1 or 2 nitpicky things I don't really want to go into. But yeah, I would definitely recommend the movie. If you haven't seen it, please go and see it. That's much it for me today, guys. If you did enjoy, go ahead and hit the like button down below. Really does help my channel out. Go ahead and leave in the comment section what you thought of the new Creed movie if you've seen it, and your rating out of 10. And don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button down below to never miss another video on this channel. And I'll see you next time, guys. Take care.